Hi everyone, welcome back to the Knitting PT podcast episodes here on YouTube. My name is Andrea. I'm the Knitting PT on YouTube and on Instagram. I'm an orthopedic physical therapist and I love knitting. I love all things fiber and yarn related. And this is my little corner of the internet where I talk about all those things with you, and occasionally I slip in a wellness tip too. If you're looking for more wellness content, you can find it on my Instagram where I upload reels with maker self-care tips and stretches and exercises. I do upload them here on YouTube also. I also have consults available for those in the US on my website, as well as other on-demand videos and other merchandise related things that you can look at in my shop. Links to everything is in the description box below. Links to my website, Instagram, Patreon, Ko-Fi, Ravelry pages, as long as any other makers and designers and dyers that I talk about. Yeah, so welcome. I guess I don't really have anything else to say in my intro. Yeah, so let's just get to it. So what I'm wearing today is a finished object that I showed, I believe, last episode. This is a Carlisle saddle sweater by Madison Moe. This pattern was released back in, I think, early February. I test knitted for her. I was a delinquent tester in that I did not get it done on time, not by any means. I let her know and she was perfectly sweet and fine with it. But I'm really happy to finally have it done and to show you. I'm wearing it today. So there were two versions that came out. There's a raglan and then a saddle, and I test knit the saddle. So I'll let you take a look at the details here. You can see the saddle shoulder right here. And then it's got folded hems everywhere. Collar, sleeve cuff, and the body hem. It's a 3x1 broken rib. Yeah, it's fingering weight. It's beautiful. It's actually perfect for spring, which we are hopefully entering here in the Northeast. Yeah, and I really like it. And this is like one of those few projects where my sleeves actually came out perfectly. I have a tendency to have sleeves that kind of like shrink a little bit after some time, where like they go back to pre-blocking state. So I always end up more with like bracelet length sleeves, which usually I'm fine with because I'm always kind of pushing my sleeves up anyway when I'm doing stuff. But these actually came out perfectly and I love it. Let's see. I don't think I modified anything to the sweater. The only thing that I changed was that I didn't do any decreases on my sleeves. I just knit them straight all the way down to the bottom and then did a quick decrease row to cinch it in a little bit. Okay, and I did that because I don't like tight sleeves, and I think what I figured out is that my biceps measurement is usually a size larger than the one that goes with my bust size. So that is what I have been learning about myself, and that is what I'm sort of making modifications for going forward in the garments that I knit. Yeah, the yarn for this is Cat Sandwich Fibers, and this is in her colorway Sweet and Spookier. It is so gorgeous. It's got these little fun neon speckles. Perfect for spring. It makes me think of spring flowers. Yeah, I really love this. It's super comfortable. The only things that I think I would change if I were to make it again, and I don't think I will make it again because fingering weight sweaters are a labor of love. They are a little bit of a slog for me, just because they're fingering weight. That's really it. I don't have an issue with the pattern itself at all. So one of the feedback that Madison got from the testers was that the neck was kind of riding up a little bit in the front, and it does have short rows, but she incorporated more short row shaping in the final pattern. That's the word I'm looking for. The final pattern. So if you knit this now, your neck should come up higher in the back than mine does. So I've noticed that sometimes when I am moving around, it does kind of creep up a little bit on me. Not in a way that I feel uncomfortable, because the neck is actually quite relaxed. Even though it is full over and even though it just come up a little higher, I don't feel like it constricts me in any way. It's actually really comfortable. But I have noticed that like the front of my sweater does creep up a little bit. The other thing I would change is I would have knit my body length longer. And I think I think what it is it's got to do with the folded hem on the bottom. So the folded hem on the bottom just kind of moves with your body when you're moving. So I'm wearing high-waisted jogger sweatpants with this right now, and you can see like I move around and you know it immediately goes up. So like if I pull it down all the way, this is kind of like, this is my navel right here, okay? So it's really, you know, it's not really full length, but yeah, so I think if I knit it a little bit longer, I wouldn't have so much of an issue. But I think also because of the fold over hem, it doesn't really like hug my body as much, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't really know how to describe what I'm saying. But either way, I think it'll be fine because this piece, you know, I'll either wear it with high-waisted joggers, maybe with a tank top underneath so that I don't feel like a draft every time it lifts up a little bit. Or I'll probably wear it actually over a dress or a skirt where it won't matter as much, especially when it's over a dress. I thought about wearing it with the dress that I would wear it with today for this podcast episode, but it's still a little chilly for that. It's a linen weight dress. So it's definitely like a spring, summer dress, and it was just still a little too chilly to wear that indoors. So I didn't. Yeah, but it's like very comfortable. It's like very sweatshirt kind of feel. Yeah, I really like it. I really love the sleeves too. The sleeves are absolutely perfect. They feel perfect on me. Yeah, so that's what I'm wearing, and I'm really glad to finally have it done. All right, so on to finished objects. I've got one to share with you this week, and that is so I didn't actually say what this was the last time because I wasn't sure how much the designer wanted me to say, but I got approval. So this is by designer Aimee Sher, which if you watch my episodes, you know that I'm a big fan of their designs, and I test knit for them a lot. So here it is. It's a little vest for my daughter, who is now 7. She wears her hand knit vest all the time. She's got, how many does she have? She's got 2 right now, and she's got a long sleeve sweater. She tends to wear the vest way more than the long sleeve sweater. I think she's the same as me. She doesn't like having her arms restricted. And so I figured she needed another one to add her rotation because she's just been wearing like the same one daily. Yeah. And so what happened was that Aimee was posting on Instagram a few weeks ago about how she was working on a kid's vest, or maybe she posted, or maybe she just told me. And I was telling her how I had been looking for another vest pattern for my daughter. And she said, oh, if you want, like you can, you know, if you don't mind that it's not tech edited yet, and it's not, I think it's graded, but it's not tech edited yet. If you don't mind that, you can have it early. And I was like, yeah, sure, if you're offering, of course. So it's not even out for testing yet. I think they will put out a testing call for it later in the spring. But this is called the Back to School Vest. I knit the size for kids, size 7. I can't remember what the chest circumference is right now. But yeah, here it is. It is written for worsted weight. I held fingering double, and I got gauge. But it is like a drapier fabric, so I think if you want something more with less drape, I would either go down a needle size or like use worsted weight, like it's called for. But my daughter had already picked out this colorway, and she had her heart set on it, so I used it. This is Woolberry Fiber Co. in the colorway Have You Heard. It is from the Downton Abbey collection, and it's beautiful. Yeah. This colorway is so like, it changes so much in the lighting. Like right now it's looking very teal-ish, and it looks teal to me too. But there are certain lights where it'll look a little more blue, a little more like turquoise, yeah. But the speckling on it is so pretty, yeah. But I really love this vest. It's a V-neck shape, as you can see. It's got ribbing on the sides. It is knit bottom up. And my daughter specifically asked for these buttons. These are the same buttons that I used on my son's vest for the boucle vest that I test knit for Hannah G Knits in the winter. And she saw these buttons on his vest, and she wanted the same ones on hers. And these buttons, I don't really remember where I got them from. I think I got them off Amazon or maybe Etsy. I bought them like 10 years ago, honestly. They're not the highest quality because there are some, like I picked the best ones, but there's definitely some in the bag where like the printing or the carving got a little off, and there's like just like the wood is cut on the end of on the end over here. Yeah, but she loves it. I finished it and blocked it and woven the ends and sewed on the buttons on Tuesday night, and then she promptly wore it to school Wednesday and Thursday, and she was going to wear it today, but I asked her to please wear another one so I could show you all here on YouTube, and so she agreed. Yeah, but it's so cute. It's like got like kind of like grandpa vibes because of the V-neck and it's a little longer. I think if it just had pockets, it would like be totally like grandpa vibes. She looks super cute wearing it. She really likes it. Yeah. So if you are looking for more kid vests to knit, and if you like to test knit, keep your eye out for a testing call for this. I think sometime in May, maybe. I don't know. But Aimee did say that they were going to post about it sometime next week. So keep your eyes peeled for it. The back to school vest. All right, so moving on to works in progress. I have a few to update you on, as always. I won't show you everything because some of them, you know, I've maybe just knit a few inches on it. There's not much to see. But I'll show you the ones I've made significant progress on the past 2 weeks. So first is my miles, not my miles. I was just looking at a post from someone else who's working on a Miles tee, so it's stuck in my head. The Moon Set Tee by Ozetta. I am knitting this together with my friends Aro Knits and Pearls, and Megan, Kimchi & Co. They are, I believe, both making the Moonset pullover. We decided to like make something in the Moonset family. There's a Moonset pullover, Moonset slipover, and then the Moonset tee. I chose to do the tee because I already had the yarn and stashware that I had bought specifically for it, and they're both doing pullovers. So, are you ready? I made a lot of progress since I showed you the beginning 2 weeks ago. Here it is. I really love how it's turning out so far. This neck construction and this neck line is something I don't have in my wardrobe at all. I'm really looking forward to having this finish and wearing it because I think it's going to be super comfortable and really flattering too. Yeah, what else to say? I seamed the neck back last night so that I could show it to you all without the neck kind of hanging around, and did a pretty good job seaming if I say so myself. Yeah, this is in Woolberry Fiber Co. in the colorway Swan Lake, which was a collective color from last spring or summer, I believe. This beautiful neutral gray oatmeal. And for this, I am doing helical knitting to alternate skeins in the body because I do want it to look even. And especially I think on such a light colorway, if there's any slight difference, it will be very obvious. So I am alternating and, you know, following good knitter advice, which I don't usually do, but I really want this one to turn out well. Yeah, so I'm about, I think, 3 inches into the body now. Yeah. So I'm going to go visit them in May, the first weekend of May in Salt Lake City, and so I need to have this done and blocked by then. I'm pretty sure I'll make the deadline because, you know, I'm just going to knit the body. I'm probably going to knit the body longer than the pattern calls for because I think for the pattern it's cropped, but, you know, I don't really do crops. So I'm going to knit it to probably whatever length I'm okay with, probably like a full length, and then it's just got some sleeves, like short sleeves, so that should go by quickly. Yeah, so actually, in terms of that, if you live in the Salt Lake City area, I'm actually going to be doing a class that weekend on that Saturday, which I think is May 6th? That Saturday, first Saturday of May. I'm doing a class at the Seed Stitch store in Bountiful, Utah, which is in a suburb just outside of Salt Lake City. And I'm going to be teaching my posture and ergonomics class in that store. So if you're local and you would like to take the class, you can go over to the Seed Stitch store website to buy a ticket. I'll link it in the description box below. It should be really fun. When I do these classes in person at local yarn stores, what I like to do is teach for 2 hours. So my class is usually a 1-hour class. So when I teach in a local yarn store, what I do is I do the class for the first hour, and the second hour is really just more a kind of knit night socialized time where everyone knits and talks, and I float around and I will help you out individually, help you troubleshoot any questions you have about your posture, and work with you individually for the rest of the hour. Like, I'll float around to everyone. So it's a great opportunity if you really want more personalized feedback on how your knitting posture looks, or crochet posture looks. Yeah, so if you're in the area and you're free, go sign up now. Space is limited because of the store space. So yeah, so I hope to see you there if you are local to the area. All right, next whip is my Sheep Camp sweater by Jennifer Berg. I've also made a good amount of progress on this one. And I was trying to, I don't think I'll have it done, but I had this idea in my mind to try to like get it done. And I think I have 2 weeks left. So I don't think I'll get it done actually. Well, who knows? I have knit DK weight sweaters in 2.5 weeks before, but usually that's like knitting on it monogamously, and I'm not really doing that right now. I don't know. But the reason why I thought about trying to get it done is because my friend Shannon, J'adore Fibers, is having a your trunk show at Do You Knit in New Jersey, northern or like central New Jersey. I think it's in Westfield. And that is April. I think it's like the second or third weekend in April. It's not next weekend, but it's like maybe the 15th or the 22nd. I actually can't remember which day it is right now. I'm sorry. But she's having a trunk show at Do You Knit, and I am trying to go. Or not. I want to go. We'll see if I can make it with my family schedules and the kids' schedule and that kind of thing. But I thought if I had this done in time, that would be perfect. So this is, again, Sheep Camp Sweater by Jennifer Berg. This is in J'adore Fibers in her Luminous DK base, which is 70% merino, 30% silk. And these colorways are Stormy for the dark navy blue and Mint Condition for the mint. Yeah, I really love it so far. That yoke looks so good. So now I'm just plugging along on the body and then the sleeves. So yeah. Oh, it looks so good. I can't stop looking at it in the camera. The modifications I've done to it so far is I omitted one of these triangular repeats, and then I think I like split for sleeves 1 row earlier than the pattern called for. And I did that because there's been a lot of people have said the yoke is quite deep. So, and I didn't want my yoke super deep. So what I did was I just kept I kept putting on try-on tubing, and I kept trying the yoke on and like seeing how it sat and seeing if I liked it. And I made the decision to just omit 1 repeat and do 1, and I think it'll be fine. I haven't tried it on since I separated for sleeves. I usually try not to do that until I have several inches of body, because if you try it on right after you split, it's just like sits funny anyway, because you don't have enough like weight from the body to make it like hang down. So I'll probably try it on sometime soon, but I think it's gonna be fine either way. Yeah, I'm really excited for this one. Yeah. All right. I've got 2 other whips to show you, and they're new. I am slowly working away on my Miles shirt jacket, which is another pattern by Ozetta. If you want to see it, you can look at previous episodes to see it. I'm still working away on the body. I knit like an inch here and there throughout the week, so there isn't like much of significance to show you yet. I am hoping by the next time I record that I'll have maybe finished the body. We'll see. But, so I talked last episode about how I decided to frog the Snowden socks that I was working on. They're a pair of beautiful cabled socks, but because it's been a few years since I've knit socks again, I decided to frog them because it just wasn't a great way to get back into sock knitting, to like do small cables. Yeah, and I remembered that the last time I'd been, you know, a pure sock knitter, I had tried to do a cabled sock and I'd given up. So I don't know why I thought it was a good idea. I mean, I figured out how to do the cable, so I'm glad I at least got that skill under my belt now. But I decided to frog them. I didn't love the way the cables were looking in the yarn I'd picked, so we will try that pattern again some other time. But instead what I did was I cast on some self-striping socks. And Jackie Woolen Oaks really encouraged me to cast on with her. She's already finished 1 sock, whereas I'm still on the cuff of the first sock. But again, I haven't been working on it that much. But here it is. So I showed the yarn last time. This is from Valkyrie Fibers, and this is self-striping in the colorway, what is it? It's from her Middle Earth series in colorway Galadriel. So pretty. So what I did was I followed Stephanie from Edible Thoughts Make. She has a tutorial on her YouTube channel showing how she splits up yarn for self-striping socks into like 2 balls to knit them on tandem. And so that's what I did. And I've only cast on one of the socks so far. I'm probably going to finish the cuff on this and then cast on the second sock and work them in tandem on their own needles. But here's what I've got so far. So you can see I just got into the 3rd stripe of color here. Yeah. It's so cute. It's so pretty. I'm really glad I did this because now I can just focus on just knitting a sock and getting used to, you know, all the sock stuff again. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not really using a pattern. I kind of just like looked at my old sock FOs on Ravelry and I cast on 64 stitches, looking at my old ones. And hopefully that should fit just fine. It's what I used to cast on, so yeah. I am going to try the Shadow Wrap Heel from Denise of Earth Tones Girls. I used to always do a Fish Lips Kiss heel, but I do just want to try a new heel. So I'm going to try the Shadow Wrap Heel and see how I like that. And I'm doing these cuff down, which is also new to me. I've only knit socks toe up before this, so we'll see if I like it. Yeah, and I mean, the only reason I knit socks toe up for a long time was because when I was new to sock knitting, I wanted to be able to try it on. And then also, the very first time I ever knit a sock, I knit them cuff down. And then when I got to Kitchener-ing the toe together, I somehow Kitchenered them the wrong way, so that instead of like the toe, I Kitchenered the opposite side. So like the seam was around my middle toe going this way. And I remember being so frustrated by it that I think I even just threw the sock away. And it wasn't like really itchy yarn that I'd gotten for free from like a local friend who was just destashing them for some of her yarn. And it was like pretty rustic for my taste. Yeah, and then ever since then I only knit socks toe up. But one thing that does frustrate me about knitting socks toe up is that sometimes when you do that Judy's Magic cast on for the starting the toe, it can be really finicky to not have holes on the ends of the toes. And I remember that used to really bug me. I used to do it over and over again until I got something that I was somewhat satisfied with. So I think cuff down might be a good way to go from now on to avoid that, and I'll be sure to Kitchener them the right way. All right, next whip and final whip to show you is another new cast on. And here it is. I've only got the ribbing so far. So this is the Building Blocks cardigan by Aimee Sher. And I just really wanted to cast this on. I plan to do the version where it is the, I guess like the vest version, short sleeve version. And then I'm doing split hem too. But I'm not going to do like a high-low hem. I'm going to do split hem with the hems on the front and back like even. Yeah, so this is the back hem right now, and I think I just switched my needle tips so that I could knit some of the body, or not some of the body, but knit like a little bit of the body before I then cast on the front hems and then put everything together. Anyway, but the yarn I'm using for this is Pearl Soho in their Hedgerow base. Here it is. This is the colorway Cattail Brown. You can see some of those like tweedy bits in there. So this base is, let's see. It is 93% merino, 3.5% cashmere, 3.5% mulberry silk. It is very rustic feeling to me. Here's the label. It is very rustic feeling to me. Like I would not consider this next to skin soft for myself. Even though it has cashmere and mulberry silk in there. It's not really adding much softness for me. It is I mean, their website, when you look at the item description, they do call it toothy, which I would agree with. But I think it's perfect for something where you're gonna layer, like a vest. And it's very light and kind of lofty-ish, so it'll be really warm without being really like heavy. Yeah, so I'm really excited. Here in the cake, you can see more of those like kind of tweedy looking bits. Yeah. So I'll just be kind of working away on this too when I have the chance. Yeah, and that's all my whips. All right, now we're moving on to something that I am renaming my spinning journey. Props, or do people still say props? Credit to Stephanie from Edible Thoughts Makes, who suggested this alternative title. I used to call this section Fiber Talk, but I wasn't really loving it. But she suggested My Spinning Journey because she said, you keep saying that. And I was like, oh yeah, yeah. So we're going to call this My Spinning Journey instead. And so I'll be giving you updates on how my spinning journey is going. If you're new and this is the first time you're watching an episode, I started spinning, I think a month ago at this point. And there were a lot of bumps in the road. I struggled a lot. If you want to see that, I think the last 2 episodes is where everything starts. But I have since been on a pretty good streak of just learning and practicing. I finally plied my first yarn together, so I'm really excited to show you all. Okay, you ready? So I'm going to show you first, I guess, in the skein. So I have 2 little tiny skeins, 2 little 1-ounce skeins. Okay, so this is one. It's so cute and tiny. And the other one, I unwound or untwisted it to show you kind of the individual strands more. So let's see, what's the best way to do it? You can see it's quite uneven, very thick and thin, but it looks like yarn. And I'm really happy with it for a first try, you know? It's so cute. Yeah, I think my skeins are so little because my bobbins are small. Like I spin on the Dreaming Robots Nano 2, which is the bobbins hold 2 ounces of yarn, as opposed to like the Nano 6, which holds like 6 ounces, I think, of yarn. So they are small. But I think also it's just that my yarn is so thick and thin all over the place that, you know, I only got 1 ounce, but that's okay. You know, this is practice. I'm not going to do anything with these. These are literally just going to sit with me and probably sit with me for my whole life as my very first hand spun yarn. Yeah, like I don't think it would fall apart if I used it, but I don't really want to use it. I want to look at it and like remind myself of where it came from when eventually one day I become a more seasoned spinner. And I think it's just kind of fun to look at it, you know, and also, actually, I think it'd be okay. It doesn't feel itchy to me right now. But also, you know, I just want to keep it and look at it. You know, so at first when I plied it, I was just like, okay, yeah, this is exciting. But then, so after you ply your yarn, you wash it, like you soak it in water for some time and then you dry it. And then after it's dried is when the yarn really kind of like plumps up and evens out a little bit. And that was when I was like, oh, like, I get it now. Like I get why people really love to spin their own yarn. Like that process after it's washed and it kind of like blooms, like it's kind of magical. Yeah, and like I feel like I kind of created magic, wonky magic, but magic. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, these are my baby skeins. You see, I'm not very good at twisting yarn. Yeah, but yeah, these are my little baby skeins of yarn. So then, I have since been spinning something new. I haven't had much time to spin really in the past week, so I don't have a ton to show you, but let me grab my bobbin. So what I've been spinning up next is some Corriedale yarn. Cece, Stitch Witchcraft, who is also learning how to spin, told me that she really liked it. She recommended it to me to try as my next fiber. So I got some from the Woolery, and I got some, I think I showed you all last time that it's like this. So the first color I'm spinning up is this kind of smoky blue. I'm going to show you here right now. I'm still in the middle of a spin on a bobbin. But here's what it's looking like so far. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. Everything's looking way more even than all my previous bobbins, which is good. I found a little bit of a learning curve when it came to spinning a new fiber, which I didn't really quite expect, I guess. Like the Corriedale felt slipperier than the mixed fiber that was in my first spin. And I call it mixed fiber because that's literally what the description says, mixed fiber. Yeah, it's like a little bit smoother, a little slipperier, and I found that I had to put more I had to draft out more fiber to spin, and then I had to draft out more fiber, and I had to put more spin into the fiber too. I had to let it spin for longer before I let it feed on the bobbin, or else it would just still be kind of unspun and it would break. So I've had several times where the yarn kind of broke, and I had to like rejoin and, you know, keep going on. But yeah, but I'm still learning tons. It's still really a joy to kind of work on it. I'm looking forward to filling up this bobbin and then spinning up the rest of it and hopefully applying it together and seeing how it looks. Yeah. I did get some more fiber, and this is the last fiber I'm going to buy before I spin some of these up. Like, I'm not going to sit here and accumulate fiber and without spinning it. That's what I'm telling myself, because like I'm not going to have space. I cannot have another accumulating hobby besides all the yarn that I have, right? But I did get two new fibers. These are from Wool Fiend Fiber, and let's see. So these are both Rambouillet, which I am really excited to try. And so here's the first one. This is called Tranquility. It's beautiful kind of teal turquoise color. And this one is Hobbiton. Very foresty colors. Yeah. So yeah. So these are going to be it in terms of fiber stash. I'm not buying any more until I spin up, I think, like half of these, I think. Just because I know spinning will always be, for now at least, spinning is always going to take a backseat to knitting. I still love knitting the most. And so I know I won't spin so quickly. So this is it. This is all I'm going to buy. I'm saying it here. This is all the fiber I'm going to buy until I spin more of it up. Also, just because, you know, I don't know what I'll like to spin. I don't know what will feel good on my skin. So, you know, I don't want to buy a ton of fiber that in the end I might not be able to use. So yeah. But anyway, so that's how my spinning journey's been going so far. All right, so this week I do have a wellness tip for you. And this is kind of born out of a question that I think someone had asked me, or, you know, a little conversation I had with someone on one of my previous YouTube videos. And this was someone who has also been learning how to spin. I'm sorry, I can't really remember who you are right now. And also you might not want to be shouted out anyway, so I just won't. But they had asked me how, they had mentioned that when they learned how to spin, they had gotten a lot of like hand pain and wrist pain and kind of overdid it to the point where they had to stop and that kind of thing. So my wellness tip for you this week is that whenever you're learning something new in terms of a new technique, a new craft, something where your body has to learn some new rhythms and some new movements, is to limit how much you do. Okay, so for example, for me, for the spinning, you know, spinning is new to me, it's new to my body. I'm still learning the rhythm of it. My body's still kind of learning the muscle memory of it. And it's different from knitting in the terms of like you're really using your fingers and your hands much more with drafting fiber and holding that twist and moving the twist around. And I definitely could feel my hands getting tired. So what I've been doing is that I've been limiting my spinning to no more than 30 minutes at a time. And that is because, you know, I don't want to overdo it. I don't want to fatigue my hands too much. I want to let my body slowly learn these new rhythms and these new patterns and to adjust to them and to grow in strength before I start to do longer stretches. And I would suggest doing this with, you know, any new thing you're learning, any new craft, any new technique, anything you're learning with your hands, is to start slow and limit the time you spend. Let your body adjust. Don't go like full speed ahead and go ham and do like hours on end your first week, because you will definitely feel it. Your body will definitely feel it because everything is new. Your body's learning something. When you're learning something, also you carry more tension in your body just because you're learning and you're not relaxed. You're really focused, and that can lead to, you know, pain, fatigue, achiness. If you overdo too much, it can lead to a point where you have to really actually take a break from it. So to avoid that, really limit your time. You know, like start in small increments, let your body adjust and move on from there. All right, so that is it for this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed seeing everything. I'm gonna leave you with one question for this week's episode, and that is, what are you looking forward to in spring? I know that in the Northern Hemisphere, you know, we're approaching spring. I mean, technically the first day of spring, I think, has already come, but You know, I know that in some parts of the US, it might not even seem like spring. Like I know some parts are still getting snow. Here in the Northeast, you know, we've had a very mild winter, but it's actually still been quite chilly. You know, spring is definitely poking through. Like there have been a lot of daffodils blooming all over the place. Some of the trees are blooming. And, you know, I can see the signs of spring poking up. And what I am looking forward to this spring is just seeing how everything comes to life. I remember last year when we first moved back to New Jersey, you know, I hadn't lived in the Northeast in New Jersey in 6 years. I'd spent 6 years in Texas. And in Texas, you know, in winter, not everything dies. Like things just keep going. And so spring where, you know, though there's like flowers and stuff, it's not the same. It's not the same. Like, you know, up here in the Northeast, you know, everything dies in the winter. And then when it's spring, everything blooms and comes back to life. And it's so much more drastic. And I remember last spring driving around, walking around, just being so amazed by everything coming back to life and really loving seeing all that color rush back in. And I hadn't seen that in a really long time. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that again this year. We are now in our new home too. So you know, I'm really looking forward to seeing how our yard and our backyard transforms. You know, everything's been dead for several months, and I'd kind of forgotten how lush our backyard is, thanks to the previous landscaping by the previous owners. You know, I was looking at some pictures from when we first moved in September, and like even in September in the fall, everything looked really lush until everything started dying back. And so I'm really excited to see how it'll look as everything starts to reawaken and come back to life. Like there are things popping up which I have no idea what they are. Like we found some mysterious leaves coming out like in random spots in the yard, which makes me think it's not planned, maybe just seeds got thrown there, but they kind of look like tulip leaves. I'm looking because I can see one of them out of my office window, but they kind of look like tulip leaves. Yeah, so I am like just watching them every day, trying to figure out what they are and really looking forward to seeing something bloom to figure out what they are. I hope the wildlife doesn't eat it. Yeah, and so I think it's just, to me this year, this backyard, I know what some of the things are. Like I know we have hydrangeas, I know we have this plant or that plant, but there are some things where I think I'm realizing that, you know, when we moved in by September, a lot of flowers would have died by then, except for hydrangeas. So if we don't have daffodils because I don't see any. But if we had tulips, if we had other flowers, like I had no idea because they'd already died by September. So I'm really excited to see what else might be popping up in surprise. Yeah, so that's what I'm excited for. What are you looking forward to with spring? Let me know in the comments below. And I will see you guys next time. Happy knitting.